hold on. Did Marathon shift to a hero shooter? Okay, hold on. I thought it was an extraction shooter as well. Okay, so I mean, I guess let's read this article, because I hadn't heard that they were gonna do like heroes for it. Amid ongoing anxiety within Bungie following layoffs last year, the studio is now preparing for another shakeup, this time on Marathon, its upcoming live service game, intended as its next step beyond Destiny. According to multiple sources familiar with the matter, Bungie is in the midst of shifting around its creative leadership on Marathon, including removing longtime Bungie designer Christopher Barrett from the game director role. IGN learned he's being replaced by former Valorant game director Joe Ziegler, who left Riot Games for Bungie in 2022. Interesting. Okay. IGN has reached out to Bungie for comment on whether or not Barrett will remain with the company. Bungie has not responded to comment or to IGN's request for comment, but shortly after we reached out, Ziegler confirmed his appointment to game director on X and Twitter. For the last 9 months, I've been working on Marathon as game director. We still baking, but I'm excited to share with you more info on the game as we get closer and closer to bringing it to all of you. Okay, while this is going on, sources tell IGN that Bungie is pouring resources into getting Marathon out the door. The game's direction has shifted somewhat under Ziegler's new leadership, one source says, including moving away from custom player characters in favor of a selectable cast of heroes. Oh. It would make sense considering this guy has directed other hero, like, you know, Valorant, another hero-based shooter. And now they're getting word and interviews from people familiar with the matter that are confirming they're moving away from open character classes and designs into heroes. Bungie has found itself rocked by a number of major shakeups in recent years that have tanked morale at the Destiny studio and left its future uncertain. Sony officially acquired the studio mid-2022 with the promise it would largely retain a semblance of freedom as an independent subsidiary. While sources say that's largely remained true, Bungie has struggled to meet key financial targets. Destiny 2 significantly underperformed last year. Yeah, they missed their targets by like upwards of 50%. So it's like if you expected to make $100 and you only made 50. Like they have not made, like, not even approached the minimum of what they were expected to do, just hemorrhaging money. In October, Bungie laid off roughly 100 of its then $1,200 employees amid greater cost-cutting measures that saw Marathon delayed to 2025 and employee benefits slashed, further damaging the mood internally. Notably, multiple sources at the time and since have shared that Sony has largely left the studio to sort out its own troubles and was not responsible for the layoffs, with CEO Pete Parsons taking responsibility. However, sources at the time also told IGN that when leaders were asked if they had considered taking pay cuts prior to making layoff decisions, one responded that Bungie was, quote, not that type of company. I bet they're not. Wow. Internally, the sentiment is only growing that the final shape needs to succeed for Bungie to avoid further internal turmoil. Dude, that's unreal. Sources at the time told IGN that when leaders were asked if they considered taking pay cuts prior to deciding to lay people off, those executives said they're not that type of company. Wow. That's unbelievable. I mean, they're saying the quiet part out loud. Wow. And I can't believe that. That's crazy. We're not that kind of company. Oh, no. We keep our jobs. You go bye-bye. That's what that means. What was your name again? I'm just making the list for layoffs. Okay, oh, Luke. Okay, got it. It's okay. Well, shoot. I don't know how this, I didn't hear about any of this. I didn't hear that Bungie, granted this article, like March is when they openly were discussing the replacement. Apparently the director shakeup happened about 9 months before this, so it happened middle of last year, but it's just now kind of getting out. So it's been a couple months since even this article went up, but I just totally missed this. I hadn't heard that there's very good reason to think that they've shifted away from actual player designed characters and loadouts and stuff to heroes. It's like, okay, just another hero shooter. Okay, great. Love that. Yeah, Tuesday. This is from back in March again. Tuesday was a truly wild day for Bungie. Into light, simultaneously announcing a change in Marathon's game director to get out ahead of a pending IGN story. Ziegler says he's been game director for 9 months, which was never announced until this IGN article forcibly revealed it. And that would have been just weeks after Barrett premiered Marathon in a showcase in May 23. There are no reasons given for the change, and Barrett is now simply listed as executive creative director at Bungie with unclear responsibilities. But what caught the attention of players themselves was a note about an apparent change in direction for Marathon, that the game is, quote, moving away from custom player characters in favor of a selectable cast of characters. The idea here seems to be that instead of the promised player customization that was spoken about during the reveal, this would instead be a hero-based extraction game instead, channeling Ziegler's former game Valorant. While games like Valorant and Apex have been successful with the hero shooter model, I have not seen a single positive comment about this alleged change from anyone, namely host of Destiny players and content creators, who have all expressed disappointment or concern about the idea. It was always going to be a tall order to try and convert Destiny players over to a PvP extraction game, but now, if nothing else, Destiny has been all about player customization for 10 years, from loadouts to looks. If Marathon ditches that in favor of Valorant, Overwatch, or Apex-style heroes with fixed kits, that is a huge turnoff to that entire community. That's what I don't understand. It's like they keep phrasing all of this around, this is the evolution, this is where they're moving to, this is what's going to replace Destiny. So like, Destiny 2 is over here, and then Marathon is supposedly over here, and they want that to be even bigger, right? They want Marathon to be huge. And in order to do that, they have to get a good number of these people over. Hopefully all of them, right? Hopefully all the Destiny players just come over, and then you start with a big old chunk of Destiny players filling this in, and then you get, you know, other extraction shooter fans in here, and maybe you get some Apex fans coming in, and it just fills in from there. But if you're going from full customization and not an extraction shooter over with Destiny, how do you get those players over here? You know, they're very, very different. So it's a bold choice to just pivot off of this. It feels like you're leaving Destiny behind. And maybe the entire goal is for them to leave Destiny behind because it hasn't been making them any money. So they're like, yeah, we dump it. Apex is making money. Valorant's making money. Let's just do that. Let's just make our own version of that. I don't know. If Marathon flops, Bungie's just going to turn into like a support studio. Like Sony's going to come in, take over, kick out all the executives. Like they're just going to run the show. They're not going to dump Destiny. All the phrasing of what they're saying, dump, I should be more specific. Dump makes it sound like they just shut it down and move on. When I say dump Destiny, I mean Destiny as like Destiny 2 as a game is not part of their next like 10-year plan. Their 10-year plan is Marathon. So if their goal is to just be like, okay, Destiny 2 is cool, we're going to try to convert everything into this hero-based extraction shooter model, it seems like they're going to be relying a lot on fans of other extraction shooters to fill in the player base rather than Destiny players, because I'm not sure if Destiny players are going to convert that readily. One idea is that Bungie is doing this to distance itself from Tarkov, the other highest profile PvP extraction game, but I think there are likely other things at play. First, this is clearly Ziegler's skill set, and if he's game director now, it may be a vision he is more comfortable with as opposed to Barrett's custom concept. Second, my gut tells me this may have something to do with monetization, as hero games sell extremely pricey skins, with Valorant getting wildly expensive things like weapon skin bundles or Apex's heirloom system. That may be the kind of monetization that Bungie wants and need here for Marathon. From the outside, switching to a hero-based game does not seem wise. Doing that forces you into competition with huge existing games, even if you have a different concept with extraction. And while you may be able to pursue new players, you are going to lose the interest instantly of a lot of Destiny players that have stuck with you for a decade. And before that, Halo players, which this will also be nothing like. Again, Bungie has not confirmed this, but Ziegler says more of Marathon will be shown soon, and with Bungie needing to get the game out in 2025, there's almost no way it changes course now. That's true. Yeah, I think it's pretty much stuck. I have 6K hours in Destiny, 100K on Steam. Yeah, no, okay, I need to be I guess I have to whittle this down a little more. When I say dump Destiny was a crude word while I was spitballing. When I say they're trying to figure out what their next 10-year plan is, it's around Marathon. And this isn't even controversial. Like, they've spoken very honestly about it, that Marathon is their next big thing that they hope is going to basically be their Destiny 2, but fill in the gaps. Destiny 2 has not really been doing what it needs to do monetarily. They've missed revenue targets. They've missed profitability targets. They stand the risk of having Sony come in and completely take over the company, because the whole standard was that if Destiny, or if Bungie rather, met certain financial targets, they could remain independent. And if they failed to meet those targets, Sony comes in and takes it over. They've missed those targets. And so if Marathon also fails to make a lot of money, then Sony's going to come in and take over. And if Destiny 2 is not proving to be super profitable for them, like, what are they to do? Just keep it afloat, losing money? They're not going to do that. Dumping Destiny sounds like a bad breakup with a stripper. Yeah, especially because Destiny's a girl's name, you know? Yeah. Destiny over monetized too. You have to pay like 300 to 400 euros just on DLCs. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with it. It's possible for them to get a lot of Destiny 2 players to move on to Marathon, but it needs to have similar playstyle and features. That's the thing though, is like, I seriously don't know. I mean, I guess you guys who play Destiny, you know better than anybody. If this comes out and it's just a hero-based extraction shooter, like, is that appealing to you at all as a Destiny player? I'm not sure if that does, because that sounds different enough to me. Destiny is alive, you're right, Reinhard. Nobody's disagreeing that it's alive. It's not making enough money. That's the problem. You can have a game that's alive, has plenty of players, but it doesn't mean that it's making the money that the company needs to make. And that's been the issue for Bungie for ages, you know? Like, those are two different questions. Nobody's saying Destiny's dead. It's Destiny's not making enough money. As a Destiny player with 10K hours, I'm no longer interested in Marathon. It'll be one of those I'll give it a try games that people will lose interest in. I've played Destiny since Alpha, and I won't be playing Marathon, LOL. They're going to make a show to profit off of the IP. I mean, I wish them the best. Game shows can be very successful, as we saw with like Fallout and The Witcher for a season or two, but they can also be just total disasters, as we've seen with The Witcher after the first season or two. I like Destiny for the dungeons and endgame content that you can't get anywhere else. Yeah, Luke, look into Warframe to see what's wrong with Destiny. Not a shill comment, I swear. Oh, I'm really impressed with Warframe. I've played Warframe. I've done videos on some of their expansions and stuff, and I've been really impressed with what they offer. I mean, the stuff that they just casually offer for free is crazy. Like the free updates, it's wild. Whole expansions with all new levels and combat systems and stuff, it's wild. Like, Warframe's crazy impressive. Destiny's played because the game is like a little MMORPG. Marathon is not a game for that community. That's the vibe I'm getting, is it's like, if Bungie is designed to not necessarily appeal to Destiny fans, if Marathon's designed to appeal to like a different group, like, you know, I don't even know. Are they trying to pull... This is the problem though. Like, okay, so you don't want to be too similar to Tarkov. So you want to do hero stuff. Well, then you're probably not winning over Tarkov players, right? So you're trying to create a new community, a new market. Instead of winning over Tarkov players, you're trying to create a different type of game. But like what is that though? You know, what game is pulling people in? Are there any other hero extraction games? I'm trying to think. Well, you win people over from Apex. Apex is mainly a battle royale. So, I mean, I guess you could say a battle royale is sort of an extraction game, because you're extracting, I guess. But like, extraction shooters typically are defined as like that you have specific like gear that you collect and level up through the run. And when you die, all the gear gets lost and stuff, you know? I don't even know how a hero extraction shooter would work. Yeah, I don't even know either, because it's like a hero extraction shooter just starts to sound like a battle royale, doesn't it? Hunt Showdown? Oh, it's been so long since I've tried Hunt Showdown. So I guess maybe their appeal is they're going to try to win over Hunt players, or maybe Overwatch players, and convince them to play extraction games. I just think that they're different. Like, I don't know if the types of players that like an Overwatch are going to come over here. I don't know if the types of players that like Apex are going to come and do a marathon extraction game, you know? Like, they're obviously aiming for the day before players. Yeah, Jay, thank you for the super chat. I guess they are. I mean, it's like we were talking about with Concord. The problem with these types of games, these live service games, is that you always are going to be confronted with the problem of you have to be so good that you win over players from similar live service games. And it has to be so good that they also can convince their friends to come and play with them. And then your game has to have such amazing post-launch support that you don't have a single hiccup, you don't trip once, and so they never have a reason to leave. They come in, they start playing immediately, they have a great time, and they never ever leave. Like, that's what you need to be successful launching a brand new live service game. The only alternative would be if the game like makes a new audience, basically. If it's so unique and different that it creates its own group of players that is an amalgamation of a bunch of different things. Like, look how quickly that can happen. You're just playing. I remember this with Hunt. Where like you feel like you're doing really good and then you get popped and you have no idea what happened. So with all this, I don't know. It's one of those games where the more I hear about it, the less I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, the more I hear about it, I'm like, why did they do that? What? You know? He took my thing.